Wow. Wow. What an amazing ending to the Clone Wars. I grew up with this show. I remember when I was 8, sitting there watching Yoda negotiate and outplay Ventress at every turn, and I never thought I'd see the end of it, but at long last, 12-something years later, it's over, and I couldn't be more sad and more happy at the same time. I am blown away by this season. Dave Filoni and the rest of the team did such an incredible job. There's truly no words. The last 4 or 5 episodes alone are, at least to me, the best in the entire show. I honestly can't wait for what Filoni does next. Just give that man a movie already. Give that man a trilogy. Give that man everything, because after this, after Rebels, after The Mandalorian, he deserves it all. Seriously, if you're looking for a reason to watch this show, just do it. Just watch it. Watch everything. Watch the good. Watch the bad. You won't regret it. Now that I've given you my initial impressions of the entire season, I think it's time I give you some thoughts, because I have thoughts. I have some thoughts about the season. I have some thoughts about the future. And I have some thoughts about the final arc. Spoilers for Season 7. If you don't want spoilers, turn off the video and come back later. I'll wait. Okay, I've waited long enough. Let's get into this. So, Season 7. Season 7 is everything I expected. It started off with some arcs that were a really good reintroduction back into the Clone Wars since it's been so long. The fact that we got a Fives arc and the fact that we got to see Ahsoka try and defend the Order that kicked her out, it was all wonderful. But the real meat, the real reason we all sat down to watch the Clone Wars again was for the final arc. We all sat down to watch this show tie in to episode 3. We all knew what was going to happen going into this season. We all knew that it would end with Order 66. And something I love about the last few episodes is that the writers made sure we never truly forgot where everything was headed. By directly tying this arc into episode 3 and constantly playing on our senses of dread and our hindsight, they delivered a twist that we all knew but felt once again. It hurt to watch Order 66 again. It hurt to see Rex literally cry while he was about to execute Ahsoka. But speaking of Rex and speaking of hindsight, the way Rex acts in this season compared to when we see him in Rebels, I think he's actually in denial. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, when we are reintroduced to Rex in Rebels, he speaks on how he never betrayed his Jedi, even though he did carry out Order 66 until his chip was removed. Now you could argue that he meant Anakin, since Anakin was actually his Jedi along with the rest of the 501st. However, he did give Ahsoka a way to save him before he turned, so maybe that's what he means. Although, since clones do age rapidly, it's possible that Rex suffers from some sort of dementia or some sort of mental illness, which actually makes his presence in Rebels a lot sadder when you think about it like that. Another thing, Ahsoka and Maul, they were so close to preventing Order 66 and the downfall of the Republic. If Anakin had have showed up on Mandalore and not Ahsoka, we could have been looking at a completely different outcome of the entire war. And this same idea also is applied to the scene where Mace Windu turns away Ahsoka's help since she's no longer a part of the Jedi Order, even though she has valuable information. The Council shuts Ahsoka out, and Ahsoka, who was literally raised under one of the most emotional Jedi to ever exist, decided to be petty and walk away. The fact that the two did that made this scene incredible, because once again, this shows how truly awful the Jedi were and why Sidious took control so easily. And lastly, I would like to discuss the very final scene of the Clone Wars. I need to take a moment to discuss it because, oh, man, that scene was heavy. It was heavy, and it was beautiful, and it foreshadowed the future. Let's talk about it. We open up to stormtroopers scouring the ruins of the abandoned cruiser that once housed Ahsoka, Maul, and portions of the 501st. We don't know when this takes place, but I have a feeling this isn't very long after episode 3, and I figured this because if a ship went missing, and it was carrying someone as important as Maul, who is an enemy of Sidious, I'm sure the Empire would like to know what happened to it. So with that in mind, the stormtroopers here are still likely clones, and I don't know what it is about that, but that makes this scene hurt so much more. Then we see Vader. He walks between the troopers and approaches the wreckage. He looks down and sees the reason why he's here, a lightsaber, once belonging to his Padawan. He picks it up, looks at it, and ignites it, and we get this beautiful shot that symbolizes a bit of good still left in Vader as he looks up to see Morai, a bird specifically tied to the daughter of Mortis and Ahsoka Tano. The shot then pans to Vader's face, and while he is wearing a mask, you can almost tell this hurts him as much as it did us. Right now, in this moment, he believes Ahsoka is dead, and she is dead because of what he did. His own ambitions and greed destroyed the Republic, his clones, and killed the person he once trained. Vader switches the blade off and walks away. His reflection is seen fading in a 501st visor, and the show ends. The fact that the Clone Wars ends with Vader looking upon everything he did, that is beautiful. In a way, Vader here symbolizes Ozymandias, King of Kings. If you have no idea who that is, I suggest you look it up and rewatch this scene with that poem in mind. And before I end today's video, I would like to end it with one final thought I had while putting the script together. Palpatine is constantly testing Vader by placing him in traumatic and anger-inducing situations to further grow his strength and power. This is implied in Episode 3 and enforced many times throughout the new canon. So with that kind of relationship, it wouldn't be very surprising to think Palpatine sent Vader here to scour the wreck of Ahsoka's ship and have him look upon his work to fill him with rage and pain. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding this video, Star Wars, or its lore, you can leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to read each and every one of them. Thanks for watching.